Okay, everyone. In the interest of time, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Really great to see you all. Welcome to all the startups that will pitch today, and welcome to all the investors from around the world that have an interest to learn more about Sustainable Development Goal startups from the Americas region. My name is Stefan. I work in Google on the Sustainable Development Goal program, where we help startups to grow faster with different aspects. I'll quickly explain a few more details about this before we dive into the pitches. And I'm personally very happy and proud to present you some of the great startups that we have in our program. First of all, this is a pilot. We haven't done this before. The program contains a lot of things around mentorship or other activities. So it's very scrappy. I hope technology will be all fine. We should be prepared for all kind of eventualities. Yeah, it's not a big event with a lot of budget, just to make this clear. But the startups did a preparation that is like at the level of presenting at a high event. And you will hopefully see later in all of the pitches the great preparation they've done. So let's get started. You should see my slides by now. And like I said, welcome. I give a very brief overview of the program that we offer for the SDG startups before we dive straight into the pitches. Should only take a couple of more minutes, but a couple of you as investor, you might not be aware of what we offer here for our startups around the world. Before we start, rules for the event: every startup will pitch for roughly 3 minutes, and then there's time for 1 or 2 questions afterwards. So hard stop is 5 minutes. We really try to take this into account, that we can be very efficient and have like all the 18 presenters, we have 18 startups, finish within the 2 hours that we've looked in calendar. If you have questions, please, more than welcome to ask the startups what you would like to know, but be on mute if you don't have questions. And like I said, technical issues hopefully don't come up, but everyone from the startups presenting it from their own screen, so they project, and you all know with technology sometimes things don't work as planned. If you have any questions to the program overall, feel free to contact me afterwards, and for all of you as investor, you will get all the startup contact information straight after the event. We will do a recording that we will share with you, so you know who to get in touch with if you'd like to know more. So what is Google's SDG program? So our mission is, we really would like to empower as much as possible social impact startups globally and help their acceleration and growth. You all probably know and are familiar with the 17 UN SDG pillars. In our program, we have startups that touch up on all of those pillars. So trying to address hunger, trying to address poverty, gender equality, so a lot of different areas. And most of them are also covered today and represented by startups from different parts of America, from Canada down to southern Chile. The program is roughly 1 year old. We have more than 300 startups in the program from 60 different countries. We do a lot of mentoring and connecting people and make sure they have an opportunity as a startup to access some of the Google resources and experts. And every startup, the requirement from our side is it should be for-profit startup. It's not a charity or anything like org related. It really tries to make sure that we can connect sustainability also with the economic reality that we are facing, because we believe that's the best way how to address some of the big problems we have in this world. And tech is obviously a big aspect of it. We as Google have like a strong interest in bringing technology to the next level, and a lot of startups work on really fascinating, impressive aspects of this. And founders, should be full-time on it, and generally, like the general Google values, should be included as well. We offer from Google's end mentorship, one-to-one, longer term as well. Do community activities like workshops that are more and more in the pipeline, and discuss technology with startups if there's a desire, and see how we can collaborate further. partners that we work with as Google are like more than 100 partners around the world, from the UN, from different parts in the ecosystem. And we would be also happy to work with you if you're VC, if you're like an angel who has a strong network. We'd be always happy to include more of the great SDG startups that are out there into our program, and make sure that what we do can help to make the startups be successful. So who's in the room today? I know not everyone can make it always at the exact time. That's why we record the event. But based on the signups, we have a mix of multiple different investors from different regions from around the world. You see probably a couple of familiar names. These are not all of them, but I just picked a few that I saw in the list who signed up and would like to know more about the SDG startups from Google's program. The startups that we'll pitch today, that's maybe interesting for you as an investor, that's why you're here, are those ones. So as you can see, it's really across the room from multiple different like SDG pillars. And we have, and as I said, 18 in total, but we will not give any form of ranking to them when they present. So it's really like a randomized order. So it doesn't mean when you see the first one, that's the best that we believe in. It's really completely randomized by region, size, and SDG pillar. So to really give no indication of what might be some form of ranking. The running order is the following one. So we have in total 18 startups, as mentioned. We have 9 that we go through, have a very short 2-3 minute break before we go to round 2 and continue with the next 9 ones. And yes, from my end, that's about it for now. I will stop sharing and we'll invite our first pitch from CalWave to bring up their slides.
Yeah, hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, yeah, I'm really excited to kick us off right here from the San Francisco Bay Area. My name is Marcus Lehman, co-founder CEO of CalWave Power Technology. And CalWave unlocks the power of the ocean to secure a clean energy future. So the majority of our primary energy today is still coming from fossil fuels, as we can see from this chart. And yeah, all the software in the world will not be able to change that fact. But here, wave power is the largest unused renewable resource that has really great benefits. It's very stable. We can produce at night as well as at winter times. And it's also countercyclical to wind and solar. So our peak production occurs in the winter. And so here's an enormous opportunity to combine wind and wave production in the long run and have a really close to baseload renewable power source. The resource is greatly available exactly where the majority of our population lives. About half of the US population lives within 50 miles of the coastlines. And this is the resource chart by the Department of Energy showing that the technical feasible resource potential, so already reduced twice towards what can be captured, is in the order of 30% of US electricity demand. And so far, we're really lacking a scalable solution comparable to our modern wind turbine. And so CalWave, after years of iterations and engineering, has found a solution that really meets the same criteria as our modern wind turbine. Our technology operates fully submerged, and with that, we get really high efficiency. At the same time, we can shut it down in storms, so we can become invisible to big storm events. The combination of these two features, no one has been able to really accomplish. And with that great architecture, our team was awarded by the US Wave Energy Prize, where they looked into 92 different teams and did a never done before apples to apples comparison of all different technologies. And then the Navy did a third-party performance assessment, and our team achieved the highest performance with our technology. And with these great results, we won a follow-on award from the Department of Energy in 2017, and that allowed us to conduct a field trial. And so here we see a video from our pilot in San Diego, where we have deployed the system in last September and are now operating for over 9 months continuous, which makes it the longest operating continuous wave demonstration connected to the UC San Diego microgrid. And we can see here, the technology operates fully submerged. We extract energy from all degrees of freedom, and then set in storms, we can lower it to shut it down and become invisible to storms, hurricanes, and other events. And it's been really exciting that the technology works so reliable. We're operating autonomous since last November, so completely hands-off. Our technology has a digital twin on board, then monitors the health and makes its own decisions, goes from operating state into shutdown and back to operating fully autonomous. And as said, the initial target was 6 months by the Department of Energy, but due to the very high reliability, we just let it run, and we're now already at 9 months of operations. And next to this initial demonstration, we just received a large award from DOE to upscale the system to a next larger class. And this is intended to be then deployed at Puckwave. This is a new 20 megawatt farm under construction in Oregon, specifically to bring wave technologies to a bankable state. So this is fully grid connected. We can operate the system there for 2 years and sell power to the grid and collect all the information to then become project financeable and bankable, which unlocks then the enormous scale up. Said initially we're coming out of the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab and Cyclotron Road. We've received support from a range of investors, Breakout Labs, 1517, the High Tide Foundation, and then as of recent, support from the Google for Startup program. We're currently raising a Series A to complement our DOE awards as one of the proceeds. As of now, we've secured 19 million from the Department of Energy. And then with that secured, we're really able then to execute the pilot in Oregon, as well as roll out that unit for remote communities, as well as then advance towards the megawatt class system. And from a short-term and long-term impact perspective, our first focus will be on small island development states. They represent about 11% of global population that rely to 90% on imported bunker fuel. So emissions as bad as coal, if not worse. And so, they have no means to transition from imported fuel, which also causes a trade deficit for them. And here, ocean energy is really a great opportunity because land is scarce. With our system, we're not causing any visual impact because we're operating submerged, and often tourism is one of the main industries there. So it's the ideal solution for these communities. And then next to that, in the long run, as mentioned, there's an enormous opportunity to upgrade offshore wind. Offshore wind globally has about 120 gigawatts of technology in construction and cable. And so with wind alone having 40 to 50% capacity factor, there's an enormous opportunity to upgrade existing offshore wind infrastructure, essentially at no cost for electrical, and then will also help to pay off all the electrical grid connection in half the time, and then bring enormous value to the grid by providing that close to baseload power. And in general, the IPCC has found, due to the energy density, ocean energy is really the lowest form of electricity in the long run. With that, thanks so much for your interest. And here are the SDGs we're addressing, starting with affordable and clean energy. And please visit us at calwave.energy or shoot me a mail at marcus@calwave.energy. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Really impressive what you've already achieved. I hope it continues to be like a scalable, very powerful solution to get energy. From the audience here in the room, any immediate question for CalWave? Okay. Then I kick it off with, like, what are the unit economics like? How is it compared to other ways of generating green energy at the current stage?
Yeah, that's one of the drivers also to support and address island communities. They have really high electricity prices now with Ukraine, even more so. Yeah, we've heard horror stories from the Caribbean and elsewhere that now they were already extremely high, and now they're even skyrocketing. So they're seeing that, yeah, being reliant on imported fossil fuel is very dangerous going forward. And then what our economics show is that once we can co-locate with offshore wind, and we have about 500 units produced, then we're at par with offshore wind, so at the same cost. And that's then when we really can scale rapidly. So kind of that's the current strategy, produce about 500 units for these higher markets, more expensive electricity markets, and then we can go mainstream US, European main grid.
Wow, impressive. Thank you. Good to know. Great. Thanks a lot, Marcus. If there are any additional questions, you have the details. I'll send them later. Great presentation. Okay. Switching gear to autonomous pivot. Yuval, you're here. I've seen you already.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me and see me? Everything is okay?
I can hear you. I can see you. And your presentation. Well, first of all, your screen is upcoming.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm sharing a map.
Okay.
Thank you, Marcus, for a great presentation of what you show. It's really interesting. And from the ocean, I'd like to take you to the fields. So congratulations, everybody. You just won unique access to hundreds of thousands of acres of fields of corn, soybeans, and potatoes in the United States, like you can see here. Let's take a look on one particular field. The name is Shorewater. You can see here the soil the moisture in the soil of that field and how it goes. I'm sorry about the noise, I have to be outside. How it goes below the threshold, the projected soil moisture, and the irrigation that has been given, rain events that have been given, the recommended by us irrigation of that field. And we have that for all the fields that we are talking about for every slice. I'd like to take you to the cameras. Actually, what you're looking at right now is a field of soybeans. These are soybeans in the early stage. It's called V3. We automatically detect the growth stage of the plant. You can see that the plants are fairly healthy. There are a little bit of holes here, but you can have as many images as you want. We are automatically detecting any disease in that crop. We also have wide-angle cameras that can give us a broader look on the field itself. Here you can see a device that we have installed. It is mounted just a little bit above the soil, and it senses the soil moisture. This is how we know the soil moisture in the field. There's a lot of sensors that you don't see here, but they are there in the field. You can have the recommendation. In this case, we recommend to irrigate 0.45 inch on that specific field on June 15. This is today, actually. You can also have aerial images for that specific field. Oops, not showing. Never mind. And all this information is, I'm trying once again, aerial images for this specific field. No, not showing. You can have all this information for all these hundreds of fields that I've just showed you before. These are the fields that we are working in. So welcome, we are autonomous pivots. We are taking irrigation pivots and turning them into smart machines that can make almost robots, farming robots. We install these devices. You saw this one here, and that senses the soil moisture. We intend to sense the nitrogen on the leaves. These are the camera. You've seen the pictures. We make sure that the crop is healthy. We have rain buckets in the field. We have an app that shows all that. You've just seen that. This is what we do. We save millions of gallons of water every year. We grew up from one system to to 400s in 5 years. Our revenues are almost $800,000 already. We have hundreds of customers. We work with major players. We work B2C to B. We don't sell to customers anymore. The cost to the farmer is $2,300 every season. This is a SaaS business. It's not we don't charge for the hardware itself, only for this service. The market is major. It's mainly in the US, as you've seen, and we're making a fundraiser now, and I invite you to join. It's been quite a journey so far, and once we will get to thousands of fields, we are profitable, and the data that we can harvest from this field is an enabler for machine learning models that we can do on the crops that no one was able to do before. We are making sensors, we are collecting data, we are making models and AI engines that monitors all that. Thank you very much. I'm not sure about the time. I don't have track of time, so I'll just stop here.
Yeah, you're very good in time, Yuval. Thank you so
Sorry.
much. Really impressive to see, like, A, the numbers you've already achieved, and B, that you do a live demo, which is always very risky. So
yes, it was. And as you can see, the aerial images didn't show up for some reason.
But I highly appreciate that one. Any questions from the audience for Autonomous Pivot?
I'll just leave this here.
Okay. Then briefly from my end, I've seen a similar like startup in Europe. What kind of plants are currently able to cover? Is it specifically focused on corn, or you can also do it, I don't know, for strawberry fields, etc. And can you go beyond like water? You could also look into like what fertilizer are needed or like pesticides.
So currently we are focused on the field that is irrigated by pivot irrigators. This is in the US, it's mostly corn, soybeans, potatoes, cotton. We do all that, alfalfa as well. This is the main crop. We are going into also onions and some more. We are also venturing beyond irrigation. Actually, our tagline is much more than irrigation. This is not only because of the images that we are collecting and helping us to do crop health. We're also having a very promising result from a nutrient sensor that tells us how much nutrient there is in the plant and if it needs more nutrients. So making the nutrient precise is a very desirable endeavor, and we are working on that, and we'll start doing that next year. So with these three, irrigation, nutrients, and crop health, we are covering 90% of what on the farmer's mind during the season, in the vast majority of row crops, irrigated row crops.
Very exciting roadmap ahead of you.
It is, yes.
Sounds very promising.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I'm here to take any question in the chat if anybody wants.
Yeah. By the way, feel free to use the chat, everyone, as well. Thank you so much, Yuval. Switching gears, going from the US to Chile, Packet Systems. We have Gonzalo, hopefully here.
Hi, everyone. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, Yuval, can you stop presenting?
Yeah. You can stop there. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't share my screen.
Okay. Do you want me to project the slides that you gave me?
Okay. Thanks very much.
No problem. Just give me a second.
Thank you very much.
And just let me know with next when I need to go to the next slide.
Okay, thank you.
Please. Okay.
Okay, I'll start. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Gonzalo Alcaíno, CEO and co-founder of Ecosystems. I'm here to tell you not only about the change that we're going to make with my team, but also an opportunity that I'm pretty sure that you'll be interested in because it's about helping our planet to tackle climate change. Next, please. Can you go next, please?
Yeah.
The problem we're facing is late wildfire detection. The main method used worldwide to detect this fire is through watchtower, and it doesn't guarantee a timely reaction. Can you go back, please? And early detection is essential. If we detect a wildfire only 5 minutes earlier than other methods, and then we react according to this time advantage, it is possible to prevent the burning of up to 75 hectares of forest. This can save human, animal, and plant lives. It means increasing income by $1.7 million for forestry companies, and it means avoiding the emission of about 8,000 tons of greenhouse gases. Okay. Next, please. And next again. So to optimize, no, back, please. That one, thank you. So optimize the forest fire detection capabilities. We have integrated the most innovative technologies that guarantee an early detection. The first solution is intelligent remote sensing, which uses surveillance cameras and artificial intelligence to detect smoke plumes up to 15 kilometers away. And it's also helped with thermal sensors, so the system can detect fires 24/7. The second solution is near real-time satellite images and AI to detect fires in large-scale area. And finally, we have FireCatch app, an application for smartphones that allow its users to report fires directly to, next please. Next please, Stephen. Yes, thank you. Directly to, back. Can you go back with that one? So the FireCatch, the application allows its users to report fires directly to FireCatch Web, the web platform that combines all the information and alerts from the aforementioned systems. Next, please. FireCatch Web will also include a fire spread simulator, a tool to improve decisions in each fire. Next, please. Sorry. This makes us the first and only startup in the world that integrates these technologies and services in a single web platform. Next, please. Next, please. Hi. Thank you.
Are you still with us, Gonzalo, or you have bandwidth connection issues?
Yeah. Can you go back, please, to the revenue model?
Yeah.
Thank you. Our income model takes into account an initial payment in order to get the service up and running and a monthly fee for subscription to our platform. Next, please. Regarding the market, we aim at the annual budget for prevention and combat, which in South America is more than $560 million. The available market in Chile is Chile and Argentina, and we aim for the 25% of the budget used for prevention in these countries. Next, please. At present, our startup has raised nearly $300,000 in different public financing. We have a pilot working 24/7 and the early adopters of our solution. Next, please. To continue our growth, we seek an investment of $1 million to carry out the internationalization process and thus increase sales in other markets through different marketing and sales strategies. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you. To carry out this project, we have a first category team. Danielle is the other ecosystem co-founder, is the brain behind of our software development, putting all these ideas into a code. Ricardo and Jasna lead the commercial area, developing business locally and internationally. And me, Gonzalo, I'm leading this great team to achieve this necessary change to save our planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo. Sounds like you had a couple of bandwidth issues, but I think we just made it, and I hope it was okay for the audience with a slight delay. Thank you much for the presentation. Any questions from the audience so far for Gonzalo? Maybe then a brief one from my end. Sensors, like what is the price of a sensor, and like how far can they detect fires?
Installation of all devices have a average cost of $1,200, and the monthly payment will be between $700 and $1,000 per month, depending on the number of cameras.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Gonzalo. Switching gear, going back to the US. Olya, are you here?
Yes, hi. Let me just share my screen. Can y'all see that?
Yes, it's coming up.
Perfect. All right, well, hi, everyone. So we hear a lot about CO2, but our company tackles methane, which is less talked about, although I guess maybe less so in the last year, but it's still a major component of global warming, somewhere between 16 and 20%. Also, per molecule, it's much more potent than CO2, which means that we can, we can mitigate the warming effect, for example, by turning it into CO2. So we're looking at a set of sources of methane that have a potential 500 megatons of CO2 equivalent of annual mitigations. So if you don't think in megatons of CO2 equivalents, it is similar to taking 100 million cars off the roads, or the cars in all of these states highlighted in blue. So really big potential impact. So how do we do this? Fundamentally, we sell carbon offsets. Right, and we do this to companies under regulatory obligations to keep their emissions below a certain level, or pay someone else who can. Right, so an example of this is California Cap and Trade for the European investors, EU ETS. There's of course voluntary and many other markets like that. So first, we identify these really high impact methane sites that are concentrated and continuous in nature. We install and remotely monitor this fleet of methane neutralizing devices, and then we get a third party to validate and issue our carbon offsets, and we sell those. First we find these unregulated sources that are concentrated and continuous, from mud volcanoes to abandoned coal mines to landfills. We've looked at a set of them and found 1.1 gigatons of CO2 equivalent from only 3,000 sources, right? So compare that to the 100 million cars. Kind of much fewer sources in order to get these benefits. And also, we've since looked at smaller sources and found at least another gigaton that could be addressed in the similar manner. So we install a custom capture and flaring systems. The monitoring systems we've dropped the cost of by about 10x, and the mechanical systems by 8x from anything you can buy off the shelf. Here's our installation in the Arctic on a natural permafrost methane vent. The market opportunity, we're going to start with California Cap and Trade for now. And the market size there is 700 million per year for just the offset portion. Of course, the cap and trade is much larger. Per ton of methane that we can mitigate, we can get $425, so pretty nice. And because it's flared with quite a bit of margin. Now is a really good time to be part of the carbon offset business, because there's $6 billion market worldwide, and it's growing really rapidly, as you can see. Almost even, this is a little outdated now, there is China and Australia that are also under those markets, with 2 more billion coming up. And why our team? We have a really fantastic team backed by excellent investors and supported by various programs such as RPE and the Google SDG. We have folks that have built long-lived devices in harsh conditions, that have taken something from an idea to business, and lots of deep climate tech expertise. So yeah, do reach out, and we're having a couple of upcoming installation, but if you have a cousin with a dairy farm, for example, or any other sources of methane, we're super interested to talk about sources as well as investments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olia. Any questions for Olia?
Tough crowd, eh?
People are shy today, yeah. Maybe then just briefly from my end. So you said you kind of monitor like the different sources where like there's huge amount of methane coming out. On what geography level do you do that? Is it US only? Is it like a regional setup that you have, or how do you currently do that?
So, sorry, just to be clear, we monitor any source that we mitigate, right? We don't necessarily monitor them independently. In the US, there's really good government data on certain sources, so like landfills, coal mines, trona mines, that kind of thing, and pretty poor data on, let's say, natural sources of methane. So kind of depends. But once we install the device, part of the deal is we got to monitor it to within 5% accuracy with frequent recalibration, which we've automated as well. So that's to within 5% accuracy, sometimes better.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving from the US to Canada. Kirill, I see you with a big smile.
How's it going, guys? Perfect. Let me just share my screen.
We can all see your presentation.
Fantastic. The fashion industry is the world's second worst polluter, only behind oil, accounting for 10% of all global emissions. The most disturbing part about this number is that 40% is completely avoidable. 40% of all garments produced are never purchased, and 84% of them either end up in the landfill or incinerated. This atrocity is mainly caused by a mismatch in supply and demand and size-related returns that are seldom restocked. We have built infrastructure, 3D detect, and network to tackle this problem head-on while revolutionizing the online shopping experience for the end consumer. Our infrastructure empowers brands to seamlessly transition from mass production to made-to-order. Think Uber Eats-like infrastructure, but for fashion. Our 3D detect that empowers their customers to create a 3D avatar of themselves with just their smartphone, and then be able to visualize how custom-fit garments will actually look like on them before they're ever made. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how does this technology actually work? To get started, you simply download a native application, you put the phone on a tabletop, you take a few steps back, and you spin around 360 degrees. You then select your skin tone, and then our algorithm will do the rest. All in, the whole process takes less than 5 minutes. We've already achieved a 97% level of accuracy. To put that in perspective, that's far more accurate than being measured by a professional tailor. Once the customer's created their 3D avatar, they're free to go start shopping on brands' websites. As part of our private beta, we've created a small women's wear testing collection in-house to validate our algorithms. But what you're seeing in front of you right now is also being built out as an API for integrations directly into other brands' websites. Here's a juxtaposition of a real garment that we produced on the right-hand side versus its virtual representation on the left. When the customer actually presses the try on button, our proprietary made-to-fit algorithm actually custom tailors the garment directly to the person's unique body proportions, almost in real time. In order to achieve this level of photorealism, we actually take the physical fabric and we run it through 2 different pieces of hardware, obtaining its real-life physics and texture properties. As you can see, the process yields uncanny results. Now, in order to facilitate a seamless transition to a scalable version of made-to-order for our partner brands, we've created a made-to-order ecosystem. Our made-to-order dashboard allows them to easily onboard their 3D assets and be able to manage their 3D collections. It also allows them to find and communicate with made-to-order manufacturers, as well as one-click reorder fabric from sustainable textile suppliers. As it stands, we have 17 brands on waitlists, and we're on track to launch pilots with the first 3 late this summer. Now, to sum it all up, the problem is clear. Overproduction is the main culprit killing our planet. The solution is radically simple. Only produce what we sell. Our mission is to transition the entire fashion industry to made to order. Now we realize this is going to take some time, but real change always does. Join us in our movement to forever change the way we shop for, interact with, and produce apparel. Thank you, guys. I'm happy to open up to some questions now.
Thank you very much, Gil. Any questions from the audience? Sounds like I have to jump in again. Don't be shy, everyone. Feel free. I'm sure you have questions just for this one. I have tons of questions I would like to ask. Just very briefly, you made to order. How does it fit in the reality with e-commerce where people want to have their clothes in, I don't know, 24 hours?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've interviewed, we did a quick survey for 300 women, and we found that as far as priorities goes, fit was the most important consideration for women in terms of what their priorities are. It went fit, price point, brand, and speed. Speed was actually, ironically, the least important factor, and fit was the most important factor in consideration when buying clothing. So people are willing to wait if they know it's going to fit them.
Thank you. I definitely would wait as well. I'd love to see your solution integrated in way more online shops.
Absolutely. Since I do have, I think I have another minute, maybe I'll also clear up one point that I was hoping was going to be asked from one of the questions. One question we often get asked is in terms of margins. People often associate made to order with really expensive margins. So how are we going to mitigate that? When it comes to overproduction and returns, those two factors make up 30 to 40% of top line revenue for the average brand. Without those numbers in mind, we figured out that we can have higher production cost and higher delivery cost, but still come in at the same price point for any brands that are at $80 US or above. What this means is of today, that's the market we can start servicing, brands above $80 US, and provide them with the same or better margins, but actually allow them to target a wider demographic. Right now, any particular brand fits perfectly about 30% of the population for women. Imagine that they're able to now target 100% of the population. And of course, by providing a superior experience, that also is going to help them drive more sales. And of course, that's also going to allow them to align with SDG goals, which of course, we all know here's the right thing to do, but at the same time is extremely marketable and therefore profitable. The brands that are currently at $80 US or above make up a $304.5 billion market share in just North America, Europe, and Australia. However, our long-term goal is to be able to actually tackle the entire market, and we have a 10-year plan to be able to do that. It looks like Brian is asking a question as well. We would like to ask a question as well.
Yeah, I'm curious if you're looking for existing manufacturers to work with you, how well does the idea of made to order fit into the current manufacturing process? And what kind of modifications would they have to adopt if they're gonna partner with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way we've kind of worked it, so there's two main processes in manufacturing when it comes to garments. The first one is cutting, and the second one is sewing. On the cutting front is where a lot of the, you can call it economies of scale are lost. In mass production, what happens is they'll take fabric, they'll layer it like 100-fold, and they're able to cut like 100 fronts of a small, 100 backs of a small. In our case, of course, they're going to be cutting everything single ply. However, when it comes to the actual sewing, a lot less of the efficiencies are lost. The way we're setting up their production lines is similar to how they would produce samples. So, and sample sewers will sew a whole garment end to end. So that's exactly what we're doing, is we're setting up big lines like that. And of course, our production costs are slightly higher than mass production, but as we mentioned to you, that's offset by us finding other efficiencies, such as lowering the overproduction and lowering the returns.
Great. Thanks so much, Kirill, and thanks, Brian, for asking the question.
Thanks so much for your time, guys.
Great. Moving on to the next one, Alp. James Kong, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm going to try to share the documents. Let me know if this comes up.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, should I start?
Please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is James Kong from Alp Technology. Actually, it's really exciting to be here today. That's because we're a company that mainly been in stealth for the last 6, almost 7 years. And this is actually one of the first time in a larger forum that we are talking about what we do and showing in public. So the system in front of you is is kind of our version of what the future of batteries look like, battery systems look like. So this is probably reminiscent of what a Tesla power pack or power wall people would think about. And we've been spending the last 6 years to make that battery storage more affordable, and using data, AI, and really clever mechanical and electrical engineering. And this battery is actually one of the most affordable in the world. I know it's kind of a bit shocking to say. It's at a cost about 30. This one is about 30% less cost than the equivalent battery system, which I think in this case is a Tesla Powerwall. And we've been also, in addition to the system, there's a system in our office that's been running our manufacturing sites in London, UK, for over 2 years now. And this is the bigger version of the system that's out in the field. Let me go to the next slide. So apology for the slide. I think one of the biggest questions that we always get is like, how do you end up making a battery that's significantly of low cost? So I think there are multiple factors, and please don't read through all that. Listen to me, and I'll try to explain it as simple as possible. But again, I'm only capturing one portion of it. I guess if you think about a typical battery module, they are often 50 kilograms or like over 100 pounds. Our battery module, is about 3 pounds. And so it's similar to a brick, and that's where the name gets from. So instead of using large electronic device, instead of like kind of engineering something that weighs a person, the electronics, the hardware we use is something that comes from smartphones. So now smartphones and telecommunication has about 40 years of miniaturization of electronic devices. So often our component cost, our kind of electronic cost, is less cost than the cabling and the connectors from a larger systems. So that's one main factor we'll be able to do. And then another thing that I probably mentioned in the previous slide, and I'll move on actually from this slide because this is way too complicated. And I will address this. And one of the main reasons we can get, this system is actually able to get to 60 to 70% less cost, because what I haven't talked about is that the way we build the system, when you build it in such a different module and use smartphone electronics, as opposed to large scale industrial electrical equipment for battery building, you use a completely different architecture. And the architecture changes that instead of Tesla using one brand, have to build a gigafactory to spend $2 billion and a 10-year partnership with Panasonic, and you have a battery from the ground up, from software, hardware, to electronics, to use one type of cells. Our architecture allows us to use multiple types. And effectively what we're able to do, the differences between manufacturer on the same battery type is also a difference between a used battery and a new batteries. So that means that right now, for the last 2 years, we've actually been running batteries from one of our suppliers of used cells, which you don't pay anything for. And this is, we're able to handle heterogeneous cells, battery from different manufacturers to use cells. So there, we're actually achieving something that is 50% less cost than a Tesla wall, Tesla Powerwall. And it has potential in mass manufacturing to reduce the cost by 70%, which is something that I can talk about that we're doing in Asia right now. So obviously, when we use on the topics of not just using our system for new cells, when you end up using repurposed cells, a little known fact that a lot of used battery at the end of the EV life cycle still has about 70, 80, and sometimes 90, in real world, 95% of capacity left in them. They're currently just thrown away. Meanwhile, we have to mine the same minerals in developing countries often to get the same chemical. So the idea of reusing battery is not new. But here we have real case study that we can extend this battery, right, 2, 3, 4, over 10 years of life. So I don't know about you. I think in terms of a kind of resource scarce, energy scarce world, I think one of the first things that we use actually should be reused, and it comes with economics of less than 50%. That's always, I mean, nothing more can be more circular economical. So this, again, I will kind of touch this slide because this is on a new cells to new cell comparison. Again, we compare ourselves here to Tesla. They're one of the lowest cost grid scale, larger scale battery system, and we're about half this price. And as basically from that reason, the payback period, the payback project, the project payback for our projects over the world, the last 3 projects over the world is about close to half of similar systems. So I'm just going to go through quite quickly. I mentioned about earlier on the case study in London. Instead of we discovered that we can do this. Well, we've been researching for the last 7 years. We did the first prototype, the big prototype 2 years ago. So we actually built, this is our kind of mini manufacturing site in London, and the entire site is run by the 2 battery systems right there. There's solar panels up in front. So at that point, we're about 290 kilowatt hours compared to 600, which is the current price per kilowatt hour. And what we've done since after we ran it for over a year and had really good data, we expanded to this sites. And you can see that already the cost had jumped down another 30%. That's because at that time, our supplier, which is one of the largest e-mobility, micro-mobility company in the world, they provide us with their end-of-life cells, and we ended up not paying for those cells. So that site right now we're probably one of the only systems in the world that can run heterogeneous, mixed-use, new and different chemistry. So primarily the chemistry here is lithium-ion, which is what we've been working on. I think I will stop here because hopefully I have questions, but other than that, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Any questions for Alp Technologies? Brian.
I have so many questions. It looks like great technology and some real innovation going on there. But a couple of concerns that that immediately came to mind when I was listening to you was compact storage of batteries always creates somewhat of a hazard. So you're putting a lot of cells together in a small location. The safety features was one issue that I was concerned about. The second one was maintenance. If you're putting together both hybrid cells, technology, chemistries, as well as new and used, when one of those cells goes bad, how do you pull that out of the entire array, and then how do you service that to keep it back online? Is it modular enough to be able to do that? Is that simple? How costly is that? Those are the 2 questions that came to my mind.
Oh, Brian, excellent questions, and thank you for that. So we have 120 fundings from in US and Europe on different innovation funding, and the majority of those was on safety. It was on AI and safety. So on the thermal management side, I mean, that's a very important part. So we actually have one of the most advanced, because we use heterogeneous cells and end-of-life cells, we already have one of the most advanced thermal management and safety management. So this goes back to the module when a battery weighs a human or weighs a brick, a 3-pound unit. It means that individual unit, you can now track these cells very closely. If something happens in that unit, which is 3 pounds, that unit gets shut down. It doesn't kind of propagate to the next one. So that's an entire architectural framework that allowed its kind of safety not to propagate. I can go over some of the phase change, some of the chemistry that we did. I mean, chemistry not in batteries, but different chemistry, kind of thermal management system we put on top of it, and also every single cell is fused. But I think we have a good 6 years of research, and probably this is not the forum. The other factor about maintenance, perfect. I mean, like we see this addressing not Tesla, it doesn't belong EV, it doesn't belong rich person's home. I think there's about 2 to 3 billion people in the world that currently still use diesel generators for electric generation at least part of the day. I mean, think the entire continent of Africa, think India, think Indonesia, think a large part of Asia. So we actually really feel that to truly turn the world renewable, you need energy solutions, because the sun does set, the wind is quite intermittent, and with our cup for energy, it's very tough to transition to fossil fuel. So anyway, I'll stop here, but anybody feel free on those 2 questions to contact me.
We unfortunately have to move on. We're actually already late. Thanks a lot, James. Super exciting. That sounds like a next big unicorn. Good luck with everything. Neil from ADCT is our next presenter. Neil, are you here?
Certainly am. Thanks, Stefan. Hi, my name is Neil Davidson, and I'm the founder and CEO of ADC Technologies. We've been working for several years now to integrate direct air capture into data centers. with what we're calling data center carbon capture. Now, the potential of combining data centers with direct air capture is huge. And our modeling shows that by 2050, data centers could be removing as much as 5% of the CO2 that the world emits annually today, each and every year. But more importantly, we've shown that it can be done profitably and at scale. To do this, we've developed a technology stack that consists of capturing the energy that a data center has just used to power its servers as heat, and putting that now captured heat to work as the input energy for direct air capture. This means that almost all of the energy used by the data center is reused to remove CO2 directly from the atmosphere. Next to profitability, scale is our goal, and we have developed our business model with both in mind. We are patented or patent pending on a variety of key technologies that are necessary to operate and deploy data center carbon capture. So for the bigger data center operators, we expect to end up licensing our technology and pursuing licensees to provide services to data center operators globally. In addition, we will be operating a carbon capture as a service model, providing the necessary hardware and operations required to install, capture, and sequester CO2 using data center carbon capture. We're presently raising funds to build our first deployment in an environment known for its wasteful operations, a Bitcoin mine. This will allow us to showcase our capabilities while generating revenues as we test the first deployment. Once operating, we will then focus on scale and putting our technology into every data center and Bitcoin mine in the world. But more importantly, even with the Bitcoin price today, our solution is so efficient that we can mine Bitcoin and still be profitably removing CO2 from the atmosphere. And yes, in what may be one of the biggest ironies in climate tech today, Bitcoin mines can be transformed into profitable carbon removal machines, meaning that all the energy consumed to mine Bitcoin will be used to capture carbon as well. And as profit motives go, that's pretty good. So much like a lot of the companies you've heard from and you'll hear from today, this is very important work. And we are confident in saying that making carbon capture profitable means that data center carbon capture is the killer app that carbon capture and the world needs to beat climate change. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Neil. Any questions? Then briefly from my end. So like with some of the biggest data center like providers in the world is basically Google, Amazons of this world, who are, I think, relatively good in optimizing already their data center. Who's like your main industry that you're focusing on where you say, hey, here we can really have a big impact aside from what you mentioned with Bitcoin?
Well, after Bitcoin, it is, of course, it's your Googles, your Amazons, and your Facebooks and folks like that. And one of the main goals we have is to actually kickstart the means to deploy this as a standardized technology, so that, you know, the data center industry is nice and complicated in some ways. You know, you have your Googles installing hardware into third-party facilities. To get those third-party facilities up and running using carbon capture, it's going to take more than just someone saying, hey, we want this. It will need, hey, we want this, and the capability to actually do it. So to actually deploy at scale, our goal is to provide those capabilities to the entire industry. So not just Bitcoin, but pretty much anyone who has a data center, including your Google, Microsoft, Facebooks, and the folks who they deploy with.
Great. Thank you so much. Any more questions, feel free to reach out to Neil later directly. Definitely a lot of optimization possible there.
Yeah.
Moving on to Drivers Cooperative. Jason, I've seen you earlier here.
Hey there. Let me
Hello.
present my browser. Oops, slight issue presenting. Would you mind throwing up the slides if you have them?
Give me a minute. I need to go to them first. But feel free to already kick it off if you want.
Sure. Hi, folks. My name is Jason Prado. I'm the director of platform at the Drivers Cooperative, which is a driver-owned rideshare service. We're operating in New York City today. I'm calling in from San Francisco, but the business is currently in New York with the rest of the team. We're planning for expanding nationally and then internationally around the end of this year. So everyone has heard the issues with gig labor platforms. Jobs that used to be a path to the middle class, like driving a taxi, no longer provide that opportunity. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Platform operators take very high and rising fees to seek profitability over all else to justify their sky-high valuations. Gig workers fear that they can be activated at any time. In New York City alone, gig economy vehicles generate over 1.4 million tons of CO2 per year. And there's no plan to address this in the gig economy industry, but we are working on it. Next slide, please. Next. Thank you. We're building a solution to these problems. Our app, Co-op Ride, is the gateway into a cooperatively owned rideshare platform. Our company is 100% owned by drivers. Every shareholder is a driver who is driving on our platform. Governance decisions are made directly by drivers through elections, electing the board, and directly voting on these decisions. And profits will go back to the drivers who own the platform. We're also building a rideshare and logistics platform from scratch. And the software platform belongs entirely to a driver workforce. We've also open sourced some key components of the platform, including our matchmaking system and other services. We plan to build an open source ecosystem of components and protocols that will reduce the costs and complexity of building and launching gig labor cooperatives around the world. We're also in discussion with lots and lots of potential partners there. Next slide. Yep, thank you. So we've achieved some traction in New York already. We've signed up 6,700 drivers. There's about 65,000 for-hire vehicle drivers in the region. We've also gotten our per ride costs to consumers lower than our biggest competitors. Next slide, please. One more, please. Thank you. Let's see. Drivers who drive on our platform make more per ride. Our primary business right now is actually in contract logistics. We have lots of contracts with B2B and B2G clients doing these thousands of rides per week. But our consumer rideshare business is also operational and launched. We've signed up over 40,000 customers and do plenty of rides with rideshare as well. But we are looking to expand the rideshare business, as we expect that to be the biggest part of our business in the future. And we are within an order of magnitude of becoming profitable. Next slide, please. One more. Sorry, one more slide. Cool. Yeah, so we've raised $2.8 million across grants and debt raised from cooperative loan funds and crowdfunding. We're looking to raise again to fund the expansion of our rideshare business to additional cities, and also to kickstart this program we're calling the Electric Vehicle Navigator program. So by getting lots of drivers together, we can achieve economies of scale in purchasing and providing services to each other. So, we have deals for providing insurance to drivers. We're working on repair programs, a loaner vehicle program, and then the program we're most excited about is a program to assist transition to electric vehicles for our fleet. Our goal is within the decade that the industry should be 100% EV in New York City. Next slide, please. One more. Awesome, thank you. Cool, so we are in operation. We're kicking off our electric vehicle transition this year, and we're committed to remaining 100% owned by drivers. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions about TDC.
Thank you very much, Jason. Any questions from the audience here? Then briefly from my end, this is obviously a game changer for drivers, and they can make a lot more money. How do you try to get the end user onto your platform?
Great question. So like I said, we've signed up 40,000 riders, most of them in New York City. We've gotten a ton of earned media. We've also had big support from people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and other national figures who want to see this succeed. We are planning a marketing program for our expansion of rideshare at the end of this year. Again, we only need to peel off as a percent or so of New York City rideshare traffic to become profitable just in this one region. So our goals are a little bit different than the major monopoly platforms. But we find that there's a huge desire for among conscious consumers to use an alternative to the existing platforms.
Great. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you.
And coming to the last presenter before the very short break, because we're a bit over time, Sergio.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'll start my own presentation. There you go. Yeah, well, thank you very much. Well, my name is Sergio Zaravia. I am the co-founder and CEO of Remiti. I grew up in Argentina in a family of Bolivian immigrants. I still remember my father traveling 80 kilometers to send money to my grandma and relatives there in Bolivia. 30 years later, I ended up working for the same company that my father used for sending money, Western Union. At Western Union, being the CFO for Latin America, I got to learn the nitty-gritty of the business. Regrettably, I also got to learn that 30 years later, the service remained the same, there was no innovation at all, and that the story of my father was not unique, repeated in millions of immigrants worldwide. I decided to quit Western Union to start Remiti, a cross-border payment solution for the unbanked. Today, sending and receiving money in Latin America is painful, it's expensive, time-consuming, and a bad experience for customers. Why? Mainly because of poor banking and payment infrastructure across Latin America. And this happened in a large and unattractive market. If we put all the immigrants together in the same territory, they could be the fourth biggest nation in the world, and 80% of them excluded from formal and digital financial solutions. We envisioned this problem by eliminating money transfer, because we got to learn from our customers that the real need is to consume and pay in a different currency. However, to build a scalable solution, we needed to build an open and cost-efficient payment infrastructure across Latin America. We are powered by a seasoned and multidisciplinary team with domain knowledge of the industry. We started with an app validating our vision first in Argentina and then in Chile, and we did it successfully. Parallelly, we built our own payment infrastructure and rails. And this infrastructure encompasses three key components. First, a proprietary anti-money laundering compliance system, which is very critical for this highly regulated business. Second, treasury clearinghouse capabilities, which combines blockchain and SWIFT rails and position Remiti as the central bank of this open cross-border payment ecosystem. And third, we also, this infrastructure considered a transaction processing engine that can process multi-purpose cross-border payment transaction instantly. We open our infrastructure to third companies, and companies such as MoneyGram, the second biggest company in the world, and Remitly, or even global banks such as Santander, demanded our infrastructure. Today, we have a pipeline of more than 70 companies and financial institutions willing to use our infrastructure. And the volume we are processing for these clients is growing 50% month over month in the last 6 months. We have a clear expansion plan to open and launch our own operation in the 6 key countries that encompasses the 80% of the Latino remittances volume. We are seeking investors who believe that technology can enable game-changing business. Today, so far, we have already secured 85% of the funding round, and we got the support from founders, angels coming from companies such as PayPal, MasterCard, BBVA, and VCs such as Soma Capital, Santander. We are certainly sure that we are with the right solution in the right region with the right team, and we would love to count with your support to close this funding round and ultimately to shift the life of millions of immigrants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sergio. Any questions for Revity?
Well,
Hi,
yes.
Hi, this is Lola. I was just wondering what you're doing for Latin America. Is it transferable to other parts of the world?
Sorry?
Can it be replicated in other parts of the world?
Yes, well, we focus on Latin America because Latin America was in some way kept out of the radar for the digital transformation. But yes, it takes time to build infrastructure because you need to connect the key partners and get the readiness of the regulatory compliance, which is a key part of this business. Because by getting your own compliance, AML compliance infrastructure, you can partner directly with local financial system, and by doing that, you can improve the whole cross-border payment services, right? But yes, this model and infrastructure is replicable in other parts of the world. We are focusing on Latin America and specifically Latin America beyond Mexico, because everybody is obsessed with the US and Mexico corridor, and they get all the attention and you started trying to tackle this corridor. And the rest of Latin America is twice bigger than Mexico, and nobody is taking care of the region, and Revity is doing that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you so much, Sergio.
Thank you very much.
More questions, feel free to reach out to him directly. With that, we are on a very, very short 2-minute break. We're a bit over time, 10 minutes. So please have a very quick break, grab a drink, have a bio break, whatever. And I'll see you back here in 2 minutes.
Thanks.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Guillermo, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So welcome back, everyone. Guillermo as our next presenter, presenting Mammoth Test.
Thank you.
Feel free to bring up your slides.
Yeah.
Here, perfect.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Guillermo Pepe. I'm the founder and CEO of Mammoth Test. Mammoth Test is a patient data-driven end-to-end solution that is defeating breast cancer. Breast cancer is the #1 cancer in the world. It's the cancer that kills the most women worldwide. 700,000 women die every year of breast cancer, and 70% of those deaths are in developing economies, developing countries. And this is because the healthcare system in a developing country looks like this: highly confusing. It works in silos. There is no communication, no data sharing, and of course, there are no screening programs. So women don't have access to early breast cancer diagnosis, and even if they do, they will get lost in such a healthcare system. So based on our 10-year expertise on the breast imaging diagnosis field, 14 months ago, we started developing and implementing a proprietary software that takes advantage of the hospital's mammography unit spare capacity. What we do is we connect our platform to a mammography unit at the hospital. We then create and implement screening programs. So women would go to a mammography facilities, have the mammogram done. We then do the interpretation by using teleradiology and medical expert plus artificial intelligence. So it's a double read that lowered the risk of human error by 85%. Once the woman is diagnosed, we would accompany the patient throughout the entire journey. So it's 100% traceability of the patient. And that allows us to data and structure it and then monetize it. We actually have 2 revenue streams. One is recurrent revenue stream, which is the mammography interpretation. Once women are 4 years old, they have to come every year for a mammogram. And the second one, as I said before, it's the data monetization that is that works on a subscription-based model. We are first Merck's direct investment in Latin America. Only 2 weeks ago, we were chosen by the World Economic Forum as a tech pioneer partner. Only 5 companies in Latin America. Last year, we were selected by United Nations as one of the 4 health tech startups with a great potential to change the healthcare system. We are now operating in Argentina and Mexico, but we are planning to expand our operations to Brazil, Colombia, and the rest of the Americas. The platform is tech agnostic. It means that we could take care of other types of diseases, for example, other types of cancers. And we are now looking for a $3 million investment in order to impact the lives of 300,000 women in the next 12 months in Mexico. So far, we have impacted the lives of 600,000 women in Latin America, but with your support, we could reach 350 million women in the Americas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guillermo. A really important course that you're working on. Any questions for Mammoth Test?
I have one question. I'm a physician.
Please.
The only question I have is, how do you get people to do the mammos in the first place?
Yeah, what we do is we implement screening programs. We have a system that works with, for example, we connect the platform to a mammography unit, existing mammography unit in a hospital, and we then go to that city. We connect around 50 medical doctors. It could be general practitioners or gynecologists. We give them benefits for their patients, so they send at least 10 women per month to a mammography facility. We also choose in that city ambassadors. We call them ambassadors, women that do the word of mouth of telling other women. Usually are hairdressers, cosmetologists, that kind of women that are always working with women. And of course, we also articulate our work with governments and companies that really care about women's healthcare. For example, Avon, that has in Mexico 300,000 women representing the company all over Mexico, and they give us a huge hand in to help us bring women to the screening programs. So that's how we make them.
Great. Thank you so much, Guillermo. Really fantastic to see just how many people you already impact today. I hope you can continue to grow and help even more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the next one for today, Jessica from Equilo. Jessica,
hey everyone.
I see you.
Thank you.
You're here. Perfect.
Yes, let me just share my screen. Right. Equilo's mission is to hack gender equality for a happier, more just world. As many of you are probably familiar with, SDG 5 is focused on gender equality, but notably, gender equality is also integrated within all of the SDGs because it is critical that gender equality is solved to support all of the SDGs being achieved. Gender analysis underpins gender equality being achieved. So it's the process of collecting data and information that is used as the basis to make decisions for planning, for investments, etc. But the access to the kind of data is very hard to come by. It's growing in demand in terms of the need for gender equality data and specialists. And the way it's been done in a manual fashion, which I've been doing for the past 20 years, is beginning to become difficult because their demand is outpacing the supply of the manual way of doing things. Our solution is to provide a data analytics as a service platform. We have a suite of tools that bring together a large amount of data that is publicly available, but also bespoke sets of data sets from different organizations to provide instant gender equality analysis so that users from development organizations, humanitarian organizations, development finance institutions, social impact investors have this data readily available to make decisions for due diligence, for project planning, and more. Our solution saves time and money. It's about 5% of the cost to use our platform than it is to hire someone to do it manually. With that comes improved quality because we have very high rigorous sets of standards and frameworks that we use for our analysis. And it accelerates integration so that it's easy to see what the challenges are for gender equality and a given investment in infrastructure, energy, and agriculture, and ultimately catalyze change. One of our first tools that we launched was about a year and a half ago is our gender equality and social inclusion contextual analysis, where a user can simply log in, select a country, select a sector such as infrastructure, health, agriculture, and they get a spider chart which shows them where the gaps and the strengths are, and they can deep dive then and understand what the risks and opportunities are, explore themes and domains, play with the data, and also have some intelligently suggested action items on what they can do, whether they're an investor or a development organization, whoever they are as an audience, to address some challenges that were identified in the analysis. We've also partnered with the 2X Collaborative, which is the new industry body that is focused on gender lens investment, that is setting industry standards for gender lens investing. We've worked with them to build out the first two tools, which is an assessment that's aligned with the gender lens investing standards, the 2X challenge that looks at women in leadership positions, women in the workforce, workforce policies and practices, et cetera. And all of this is driving towards a 2X certification. So if any investor, fund, or company wants to say that they are gender smart or doing gender lens investing, they'll have to go through this 2X assess process with Aquilo first in order to go and get their 2X certification. The market demand is only increasing. As one example, out of all of these markets that we're currently serving, gender lens investing assets reached $18 billion as of June of 2021, which is 180 times what it was in 2014. Gender analysis, gender lens investing is not a trend, it is here to stay. Here are some of our partners, the 2X Collaborative, a variety of development finance institutions such as FinDev Canada, private companies that are supporting development agencies and humanitarian actions. And we can see here when we first launched our tool, we had 3 organizations who signed up in the first month with 16 users. And in just a little bit over a year, we grew that to 33 users across 321 organizations, and also have over 700 subscribers that are subscribed to our open source tools that we're looking to convert into paid subscribers, and this continues to grow. Most importantly, our social impact is really important to us. Our tools have been used recently in the crises in Ukraine and Afghanistan, so that organizations like UNICEF can understand the context on the ground when designing response plans to look at vulnerabilities of women and children, access to information and communication technologies, and provide solutions to respond to their needs for safety and to respond to issues like gender-based violence. I'm Jessica Menon. I'm the founder and CEO. I've been working for 20 years in the gender equality industry, and am very excited to be moving into a lot of different directions with our product development. And if anyone's interested in learning more about our 2X Assess platform for investors, I'd be happy to share more. And I'm also looking for investment in a Series A as we grow our business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Any questions for Jessica? Then maybe briefly from my end, first of all, it's really important work that you're doing here. Like, how much is it possible from an organization who already has a lot of data to plug in their data into yours, so that if they want to do their own analysis, they can use both data points?
Thanks for that question. So we provide analysis at 2 different levels. One is at the contextual or market level, which most organizations don't have access to. So that's been one of our biggest selling points, is having that information. In terms of other organizations that already have their own impact measurement systems, we can provide a API that integrates directly into their systems that's focused on gender equality plus. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, I see Lola here as well, so we can move on to our next one for today, which is mentoring her. The slides are coming up.
Okay. I am sharing now. Give me all.
Here we go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dr. Lola Adiemi, and I'm the founder of Mentoring Her. Mentoring Her is a virtual social networking community for women to mentor girls and women. Mentoring Her uses machine learning technology to virtually connect female mentors to mentees, where they develop relationships and help one another grow in areas relating to education, career, entrepreneurship, and economic empowerment. This is because we believe in a quote that encompasses everything we're trying to do by Eleanor Roosevelt. It's learn from the mistakes of others because you can't live long enough to make them all by yourself. Everybody needs a mentor. Let's make it easier for them to find it. The problem is that, according to Harvard Business School, about 63% of business women never had a mentor, even though 67% ranked them as important to career success. And barely 54% of women have access to mentors. This is really because women have multiple roles in society. We're caregivers, we're parents, we're sisters, we're aunties, which is extremely busy. Have you ever felt the need to talk to somebody relatable who has walked in your path? As female entrepreneurs, we have felt that need, so we decided to create Mentoring Her. Mentoring Her is a community all about communication and connection, and this is what we look like on mobile and online. Our solution utilizes machine learning algorithms that match girls and women based on expertise, location, and interest to find the most suitable matches to meet their needs. We provide equitable access to opportunities and resources that impact SCPA, and Skills Acquisition Platform provides opportunities to mentees to expand their skill sets, which also impacts SCG4, particularly in this digital revolution that we're in. We have a global reach. It's one community, one mission, one vision, and what unites us is the power of our shared experiences. We have a membership number. Our traction is over 2,000 people on our platform. We have over 81 industries. We have over 21 countries represented. We're seeking just 100K for human resource marketing and technology. We want more people on our platform. We want more people to know about us, and we want more innovative technology and human resources to manage this. Our business model is B2B and B2C. We have a freemium subscription and mentorship as a service model. And for B2C, we have a mentorship as a service, CFO, and corporate sponsorship model. Mentoring Her impacts SDGs 4, 5, 8, and 10. And we can share how in our impact strategy report. Key members of our team are myself, Melissa Bradley of 1863 in Eureka, and Maya Wapagoro. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lola. Any questions to Mentoring Her? Okay, then briefly from my end, like there are lots of communities already out there. Do you have any specific, let's say, focus where you say, I want to start first of all helping female founders, for example, where we know there's a huge problem that they have a way harder time to get access to funding? Or do you keep it very broad for everyone who is looking for a mentor?
Yeah, we decided to keep it broad because there's so many, well, not so many, there are quite a number of almost similar, but then different organizations as ours. One of the key differences is that ours is broader. It has a wider age range. And like I said, there are 81 industries. So we have entrepreneurs, we're women in tech. We wanted it to be a one-stop shop where everybody could come together, so it'll be more diverse. And then, like I said, there are people in over 22 countries there. So it's a broad range. I recently spoke to somebody from Ethiopia who would not have the opportunity to speak with me if she didn't have that platform. You know, so intentionally we made it as diverse as possible, as open as possible to get the people on the platform.
Great, great to keep it open and global.
Yeah.
Very much a big fan of that one. Thank you so much, Lola.
Thank you.
Moving on to Joanne from Pempem. That was quick. You're still on mute. Still don't hear you. I think she'll be back in a second. I think it's the usual problem with wireless headphones where there's regularly challenges. Let's wait a sec. If not, we will switch to the next presenter and see when Joanna will be able to come back.
Hello, can you?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect.
I was just saying the wireless headphones regularly cause issues with like the different meeting solutions.
Oh, I think it's just because I've been on it for a while and maybe I pressed the wrong button or something on the headphone. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Yes, it looks just turned black. It was there a second ago.
Let me try this again. Okay.
Coming up now.
Perfect.
And we lost. If you want me to present the slides, let me know, but it's coming up again now. I think now it looks good.
Okay, great. So great, thanks everyone. So thanks for your patience. My name is Joanne, and I'm the founder and CEO of Pempem. So we empower small businesses in upstream commodity markets. $5 trillion is traded every year in unprocessed agricultural commodities that ultimately land in our shopping carts. Those things like palm fruit and rubber, coconut and cocoa beans, to name a couple of examples. The vast majority of these are now produced and traded by hundreds of millions of micro enterprises who are fragmented and disconnected from digital tools, but they have smartphones. They have so far had to rely entirely on pen and paper, cash, and word of mouth information through their informal networks of friends and family. As a result, they earn between 30 to 50% less than they could, spend many hours of their day waiting or traveling inefficiently, and can't access formal financing. Pempem solves these problems by bringing micro enterprises in commodity markets online. I founded Pempem in response to the needs of small producers in Indonesia. At the time, I was doing field research for my PhD at Stanford, but I had noticed the same pattern in over 15 years of fieldwork in Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Africa. In Pempem's markets, there exists no digital infrastructure beyond smartphones, so we had to build some foundations first. To build a network of sellers, we launched a price discovery product through which sellers explore prices for their offline commodity sales. We now have nearly 6,000 monthly active enterprises, and their business alone represents a GMV of $75 million. To enable online transactions, we developed a payment system adapted to a user base where 35% is unbanked. And to further increase mutual trust, we provide financing to users who receive payments for commodity sales online through us. This month, we are bringing the entire commodity sale online through our marketplace. We acquire customers through our field teams. They are hired locally and build relationships with our users. They are inexpensive. It costs us $15 to acquire an active user. We started to monetize our users. We started offering financing to 55 enterprises and have 0 defaults to date. We're close to doubling that number this month. This summer, we are launching our marketplace, which will significantly increase the LTV to $1,450 per user per year. We will grow our field teams to triple our number of active users by end of year and triple that again to 45,000 by end of year 2023. Converting just 5% of these into monetized users leads to $3.2 million in annual recurring revenue by end of year 2023. Our market is huge. If you look at just palm oil, just Indonesia, we have an addressable market of $5 billion with just the marketplace product. We will add 6 commodities in Indonesia and expand to 7 countries to go after an addressable market of well over $20 billion. If we are successful, we won't only be the operating system for a $3 trillion commodity trade market. We will lift over 1 billion people out of poverty, and we will be able to help meet global demand for commodities while preserving natural ecosystems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Pempem? Monica.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for the presentation. Can you provide the breakdown for what commodities you are focusing on?
Yes, we're currently focused on palm oil in Indonesia as the first market. Planning to stay on this one until, as we're currently doing a seed to further expand that market, and planning to focus on that until our Series A. Series A will be when we expand to other commodities in Indonesia, first targeting rubber and coconut. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are more questions, feel free to reach out to Jen afterwards. We are moving on now to Terraform, and Alejandro, I already see you.
Yeah, I'm here, sharing my screen. So can you see my screen and hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for the opportunity to present our company and to Stefan for coordinating all of this. I'm Alejandro Mieses. I'm the CEO of Terraform. After hurricanes such as Maria, the process of environmental assessment, planning, and reconstruction can take decades. This is due to a reliance on a large variety of software, datasets, and specialized personnel. Our mission is to accelerate these processes in a single platform, joining data and algorithms for solar, wind, and rain studies to accelerate the process of protecting our cities and natural resources. We are a SaaS company that provides a one-stop solution for construction and land management professionals to address the rising toll of climate change. Our software can help assess areas at risk of future flooding, such as the San Juan City Airport, to visualize rainfall patterns, such as those in El Bosque Seco de Guanica, and for protecting our cities, such as Magueyes, Ponce, by forecasting wind conditions under extreme weather events. This represents a $300 billion market yearly in the US. Currently, there are $8 billion allocated in federal funds to mitigate future hurricane damage in Puerto Rico. We are targeting a serviceable obtainable market of 10% of this amount, which is equivalent to $800 million. Current competitors depend on a mixture of software, datasets, and specialized personnel, which is a process for gathering findings that requires experts to understand. Terra Firma allows you to visually comprehend environmental risks in 2D and 3D for every meter of Puerto Rico and helps cut down months-long studies to days. We have defined 3 revenue streams to monetize our technology. We'll have an e-commerce alternative for users seeking pre-processed environmental data for the whole island, a tier subscription model for professionals that require algorithms to gain further environmental insights, and value-added consultancy services for large projects that require more complex environmental solutions. We're a team of university professors, software developers, architects, and designers with over 15 years of experience teaching and researching climate adaptation. We've won close to $500,000 in equity-free grants and awards from leading scientific institutions and accelerators. In 2022, we've acquired $100,000 in revenue and have more than $500,000 in proposals that are currently being allocated funding. We project we can reach $3 million in quarterly revenue by progressively expanding to territories with climate risk similarities, starting in Florida in 2023 and Texas by 2024. We are as well developing 2 pilot studies for an agro-touristic route, joining 85 farmers in 3 municipalities in the center of the island, and another to protect 3 coastal communities on the east of the island. We are as well in charge of environmental risk assessments for municipal recovery plans that together encompass an area larger than 800 square kilometers, 120,000 properties, and 250,000 lives. So Terra Firma is about your environment, know it, plan it, protect it. Yes.
Thank you very much, Alessandro.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Terra Firma? Then a very brief one from my end. You bring a lot of different data points together. Where do you source all those data sources?
So the data sources are public. They're mainly sourced from USDA, NOAA, USGS, and NASA. For the US, it's easy to acquire that data because it's public. For South America, Latin America, it's a bit more difficult because we rely on commercial satellite providers, which we purchase the data from them to then be able to process that data. Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Moving on to Henry from ARED.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Let me share my screen. All right, thanks. So my name is Henry Yakarundi from ARED Group. We all know that most sectors have been digitized, from health, government, education, and many more. But yet, we still have 3 billion people today globally that are unconnected, and most of them live in Africa. And we have 100 million SME, small and medium-sized businesses that are now participating in this digital economy. So when we're doing research, we realize that most of the focus is on the internet, but we are not focusing on storage and computing infrastructure. So we developed a solar power peer-to-peer storage and computing infrastructure to solve 2 things. Number 1, provide affordable storage to SMEs, but also provide a better distribution of those digital applications to the end user. And this is how the technology works briefly. We're using edge technology or mini servers, and we can host digital application on the server, and via Wi-Fi through our mobile app, user can access those applications offline. But we can also use the grouping of those mini servers as a cluster where small and medium-sized businesses can build small application on top of that same infrastructure to better monetize the infrastructure. And we can put this infrastructure basically in a high traffic location. It can be retail location, remote schools, hospital, university, buses, kiosks. For those who don't know, there's a lot of micro kiosks across Africa for creating small businesses. And then from there, we actually able to democratize this digital infrastructure across a widespread area, not just focus in urban setting, but also in rural area, refugee camps, so on, so forth. And currently, we launched our beta version in 5 countries with 4 key partners. We currently served around 50,000 end user, and we have around 200 SME that build small application on top of it. Our target is to serve at least 1 million small, medium-sized businesses, have around 100,000 mini servers spread in 5 countries. Our team internally, we have a strong team technically, and have a very good understanding of the business in the African market. We also have strong partner that helped us developing the operating system, some embedded aspect, but also hardware partner on the mini server side, on the solar side. All the hardware part is developed by third party that we work with. And we currently are raising our pre-seed round to achieve 2 things. A round of $1 million to strengthen our technical team and our business development team, to start our marketing and sales, to start monetizing this infrastructure, and finally to optimize the technology, because there's still some gaps we need to fill up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry. Any questions for Henry? No? Okay, thanks a lot. Moving on to our next presenter, 3R Water. Lauren, are you here? Henry, you might want to...
1 second, I'm just loading up the presentation.
Yeah, Henry, you can stop presenting. Yeah, perfect.
You able to see this screen okay?
It's coming up. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, great. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Lauren Roth-Benu. I am the founder and CEO of 3R Water. We are a climate technology company transforming the way cities manage stormwater. Now, just imagine if all buildings, if residential, commercial, industrial, all were able to capture some volume of rainwater, and importantly, have a digital tool that would help them prepare for storms, as well as track the stormwater volume captured and money saved. Well, the time is really now, because cities across the globe are dealing with increased urbanization, as well as undersized drainage network systems and climate change. And of course, this is leading to more flooding, pollution, and even impacting future water supply. And so what's happening now then is these cities are now increasing their requirements for distributed stormwater management on private properties for new and redevelopment, as well as offering incentives to retrofit these green stormwater infrastructure practices on private property. But as you can imagine, cities are still using antiquated approaches to engage with their communities, as well as to manage the assets and collect stormwater data. So Follow the Drop is really the first and only mobile and data solution designed to increase accessibility to these rainwater capture solutions. The way that we do that is we tap into existing rainwater network sensors, as well as use professional design standards to optimize green infrastructure practices specific to properties. These projects can be submitted directly to the app, and then both the city and the property owner can track the asset and status over time, as well as collect stormwater analytics. And so the way that we work is Follow the Drop is an enterprise software with a subscription-based model. We license that software to these municipalities. With that license, anyone in their jurisdiction can download it for free. The property owners then can input the data to identify their rainwater capture solutions. And then where those incentives are in place, we offer data integration into the billing system to really streamline the process to getting those fee credits and rebates out to those property owners. So why us? I personally have over 20 years experience in the water sector, as well as the green building space. We also have a team of software engineers and marketing folks, as well as an advisor who has had a successful exit in this market. So overall, the global stormwater technology market is around $13 billion. We're targeting those cities with those utilities, as well as those that have those incentive programs for private property. We currently are working with the City of Auckland as well as the City and County of Honolulu. We do offer direct sales, but importantly also have strategic channel partners to help us with those customer connections. We offer sometimes paid pilot programs to get in the door, and then we move into our 1 to 5 year subscription license. We currently aim to be in about 50 cities in the next 4 years. We've also identified an alternative market for professionals in the architecture and engineering space, which we would again aim to be in about 2024. But most importantly, with just a handful of cities operating with our technology, we could have tens of millions of people having access to these climate adaptation solutions. And importantly, we can track those KPIs in our software. We're seeking partnerships, customer communications, and investment, and I'll look forward to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Any questions for Lauren? Brian, you have a question? I think it's still on mute.
Thank you. I'm curious what your time frame is, Lauren, to roll out to the mainland here in the U.S.
We're currently launching right now. I'm actually in Vancouver, where we were just invited to this large Blue Tech Forum as one of the up-and-coming innovation technologies in the water space. So yeah, we're in that process right now.
Do you have an initial city that you're targeting?
We are currently, our next pilot is looking like it's going to be with San Francisco PUC, as well as we're also looking at some of the cities within the LA County area.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Right,
important one. I'm here in Zurich, and I can tell you they dig a lot of holes to store water in the mountains around the city. It's a very complex system to handle high volume of water. So yeah, I can only imagine like how many cities would have a need for that. Moving on, we talked about Brian, and Brian has a lot more to share with us. He has not only questions, he has also a lot of answers. Brian. Slides are up. You just need to unmute.
You can see my screen then?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. I don't know why it's grayed out on my screen, but I will ignore that. My name is Brian Bagwanden. I am the CEO of Recalibrate Solutions. Will it work for me? Sorry? No.
I only see your first slide.
Right, and it's not, let me try this again. That's not going to work.
Coming up again.
Okay. I'm still Brian Bagwanden, and let's see if this works again. I'm not getting slide advancement. That's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to switch to what you shared with me, let me know. But feel free to give it one more try.
Yeah. Did it switch?
Yeah.
Okay. Brian Bagwanden, CEO of Recalibrate Solutions. In the 1990s, the United States Center for Disease Control discovered that a dysregulated stress system resulting from childhood adversity substantially increases the risk for 7 of the 10 leading causes of death in America. If unaddressed, a dysregulated stress system will disrupt brain and immune system development for children. It's estimated that 24 million children in the United States are living with a dysregulated stress system. And those individuals have triple the lifetime risk for lung cancer, cardiovascular disease, stroke, and potentially a 20-year decrease in life expectancy. Today, there are no tools that can effectively monitor stress system health. And that means we have no objective way to identify the kids who are struggling and suffering and connect them with the help they need. At Recalibrate Solutions, we want to change that. Imagine if there were an inexpensive, portable medical device that could provide quantitative measure of stress activation with laboratory accuracy in 5 minutes. Well, that's what we've developed. The system consists of a disposable test strip, a small reader, and some analysis software. We've used the system with several children and adults and demonstrated a 98% correlation between our results and the results coming from current clinical laboratory testing methods. So let's talk about the opportunity. In the US, there are 200,000 physicians serving 74 million children. Quarterly assessments provides a $6 billion total addressable US market. We want to start with kids who are in the high stress environment of private schools, which provides a $400 million serviceable market. And after placing 1,000 units in 4 years, we will be able to generate $40 million in annual recurring revenue. That revenue will be generated through a razor blade model, and we're happy to say that billing codes are available for reimbursement in the US. At every level, stakeholders are demanding this kind of tool. 96% of physicians surveyed said they would utilize cortisol measurements as a way to monitor stress system health in kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that every child be screened for stress system health at every wellness visit. At the state level, New Jersey has created an Office of Resilience for children, and California has mandated screening. At the national level, we've been approached by the Maternal and Child Health Bureau because they're interested in incorporating cortisol measurements in their home visitation programs. If we can end the stress system struggle, that our dysregulation struggle that our kids are experiencing, we can reduce healthcare costs in North America by $750 billion. We can increase achievement, we can reduce learning disabilities, and we can build a healthier, happier future for millions of children. Let's partner together. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Brian. It's again also a really great cause you're working on. Whatever we can do to help kids, it's definitely something we should do way more. One question from the audience for Brian. No. Then just maybe very briefly from my end, do you or can you track like on like let's say 24-hour basis the stress level from kids, or is it at least one-off only?
It is at this point it is a single point measurement, and we refer to it as a monitoring tool because we want to look at the time course of how well the stress system is functioning. And so we see this as something that you incorporate into standard of care. We monitor the cardiovascular system, respiratory, and so many other systems during normal development, and we need to start incorporating stress system monitoring as well.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. We are coming to the last presentation for today with Sam from Heron Farms. Sam,
Thank you.
Can see.
Stefan, is my audio coming in?
It's coming in.
Thank you. If I used one of Brian's tests right now, my cortisol level is probably a little bit higher, but thank you all for staying on until the last one. I'm the founder and CEO of Heron Farms. We're the world's first vertical saltwater farm. We were founded when I was in grad school last year because 98% of the water on Earth is salty. The 2% that's fresh, we are using it faster than it's being replenished. And so I built a model in grad school to try to understand what it would take to use full-strength seawater and do agriculture, and in the process recapture the fresh water that was emitted during evapotranspiration. Thanks to help from investors and customers, we've scaled up over the last year to the facility behind me, which has over 500,000 plants. And we pump in seawater every week, about 1,000 gallons. These plants sequester the salt out of the water, and they emit pure water vapor, which we recapture. We wanted to develop this lab scale system because it would allow us to test the market for our first product while also testing the assumptions of seawater agriculture and do a very fast cycle time. That's what this indoor farming allows us to do. Our first product, this plant that sequesters the salt, in America is called CB. And so what happens is the plant has a little compartment in every cell called the vacuole, and it stores salt, and it keeps the salt away from messing up the other functions of the plant. And so we sell this succulent produce item as an alternative to salt. And so most of our customers are in the Northeast of America and the Chicago area at the moment, and they are buying it out of health reasons. And so sodium chloride, which you buy table salt, is just sodium chloride, and it's one of the main health, it leads to some of the main health issues in the country. This plant provides sodium chloride, but also potassium chloride, magnesium chloride, these things that taste salty but aren't sodium, and so you get the same salinity with less sodium. This idea of using seawater for agriculture and developing a product which is a plant-based salt has allowed for us to have a lot of good media attention. However, the agricultural model behind me, this indoor farm, produces more carbon than it sequesters, and so we now replant 1 square foot of marsh for every pound sold to offset our carbon footprint, which is why we got into this program at Google, and it's helped us get into many other collaborations. Our most recent one is with NASA, where we've demonstrated that salt-tolerant plants, the halophytes that we grow, do better in Martian and lunar regolith, the simulated soil that is produced at the University of Central Florida, for the same reasons that they do well in seawater. So after building the pilot farm at the university, we built the farm behind me and achieved national distribution through an e-commerce grocer just a few months ago. We have just passed $400,000 in revenue, and I'm finally allowed to announce our next product, which is Beyond Salt. And so this is a product where we will grow these plants and pull the salt and nutrients out so that it will feel and taste like table salt, but have all the benefits associated with the plants. And so this also solves our main issue, which is shelf stability. And so basically we turn our first product through a patented process into this Beyond Salt product. The total addressable market for what we're in is called gourmet salts. It's $2.5 billion market just in the US. Gourmet salts are like sea salt and Himalayan pink salt, that sort of thing. We're just about to finish a capital raise to launch our next facility, which is in southern Texas. It will be the largest seawater farm in the world. It'll be outdoors. And we've teamed up with the largest shrimp aquaculture facility in the United States. And basically, they have to pay to pump their shrimp effluent back into the Colorado River in the Gulf of Mexico. And we will use that effluent as free fertilizer to grow that Beyond Salt product at scale. We've raised most of this $600,000. We have $200,000 left. It is all common stock. And we have the team to do it. The 4 of us have experience in the seafood industry or venture capital, farm management, and myself, I just finished my thesis on these types of plants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sam. I learned a lot of things I had no clue about before. Very insightful. Any questions for Heron Farms before we close? Last question of the day. Anyone who wants to ask Sam?
I just want to say what you're doing is fantastic. Thank you.
Great. I think that's a nice closing. Thank you so much, Sam. We're out of time. We're even a little bit over it. I would like to say thank you very much, everyone, for today's pilot of a demo day. We will share with you, with every one of you, startups and investors, the recording afterwards. On the investor side, you obviously get straight after this meeting also the contact details from all the startups, so you can dig it into a little bit later as well when you have maybe more time. I learned a lot. I'm super impressed by all the stuff that's happening around the Americas region. So this is really, really fantastic. And I hope, like from our end, Google, we can help you with bits and pieces here to make sure you're getting more successful. Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to wish you a great day wherever you are in this world. We've seen from Honolulu to Santiago de Chile and Montreal, like all kind of parts of Americas. And yeah, keep us posted on the progress. And if you have any questions, ideas on what to improve going forward, I definitely already started a list with a few things. Please let us know. And let's see how we can make sure we all grow together here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.